Good evening, minasan, konbanwa, minasan. Good evening, everyone. We've missed a lot. I've been away for quite some time, but we'll catch up on some topics. So today, this is Nihongo lesson number 0019. So for today, as we have discussed in our Nihongo lesson 0017, today, as discussed there, we will be taking on this important kanji concept, key concept. In grammar, in our grammar lectures, I have told you that one of the very important skills in grammar is the conjugation of state of being and conjugation of verbs. But here in our kanji study, I will discuss a very important and very crucial skill to learn. This is the concept of component. In other books, they call it as radicals. Component or radicals in Japanese is also called as bushu. Written in this kanji, bushu. You can see I put the Onyomi reading, bushu. So let's start. So dewa hajimemashou ka. So kanji concept, component or radicals. So why did I say that it's a very important concept? Because first thing that I want you to remember is that kanji are actually pictures. Kanji are actually depictions, early depictions, ancient depictions, drawn or written in scrolls, written in vessels in China. So a person studying kanji must understand that the kanji characters originated from pictures, and these pictures depict respective meanings. So kanji characters or Chinese characters, Hanzi for that matter, is actually a group of components, especially for those kanji characters having too many strokes. If you look closely to a kanji character, you can see that it's composed of component, especially for those kanji characters that have 7 strokes and up. Just like here, bushu. It is composed of the term bushu or component or radicals is composed of 2 kanji, and per kanji you will see components or radicals. So what is a component or radicals? Component is also known as radicals, and these are the building blocks of kanji characters, or building elements of a kanji character. A component is a part of kanji, or also there are kanji that acts as component, and vice versa. There are component that can also appear as kanji. So later on, as we discuss more and more kanji in our lectures, you will realize that some kanji can act as radicals and vice versa. So a component can be functional or non-functional. You have to remember this. A component or radical can either be functional or non-functional. These are the 2 types of components or radicals. Two types of radicals, again, functional and non-functional. And whether it is functional or non-functional depends on the role of that particular radical in a given kanji. Let's give an example. For instance, this radical, whenever you see this kind of closed bracket, this kind of Japanese closed bracket, this means I am stating a reading. As I have told in previous lectures, when a reading is in Onyomi, please understand that it is to be written in katakana. So katakana, it means that it's an Onyomi reading. So for instance, this particular component or bushu, shi, is a functional component in the kanji soku. What is soku? Soku is actually the feet, a feet kanji, and wherein the legs and buttocks of a person is emphasized. It is functional. This kind of radical is functional in this kanji because its form expresses meaning, a picture of a foot, and while it is functional in soku, this kanji radical is non-functional in this kanji ro, as in shi or tomeru, stop, shi, because in this particular kanji, this shi, it plays no role. It is neither a form component, it's neither a meaning or sound component. It plays no role in that particular kanji. So as I've said, component or radicals are classified into two, functional or non-functional. So what are the functional components? So let's further break down the functional components. What are the functional components? Namely, form component, meaning component, sound component, empty component. A functional component is a component of a kanji that plays a role either in expressing sound or meaning, or serves as a substitute or empty form. A functional component, could be there's a mnemonics for this, FMSE, form, meaning, sound, empty component. And so believe it or not, another functional component or functional radical is an empty component. So even though it is labeled empty, it's still a functional component and not a non-functional component. A component that does not play any of these mentioned roles is called a non-functional component or non-functional radical. For example, the functional components here in ro or road are, the functional components are soku, meaning foot, which is a form component, and kaku, meaning each, for each person or each, which is a sound component. In this particular kanji ro, the non-functional component for this are namely the mouth or kuchi, the symbol for a foot that denotes stoppage of a person by means of a foot, and this winter. This is a winter radical. It's a radical that denotes winter. Fuyu. Note that whether a component is functional or non-functional, again, it depends entirely on which the character you are looking at. It depends on the subject kanji. For example, while the shi, this kanji refers to stoppage or to stop, and it's actually a depiction of a foot that is being used by a person to stop himself from moving. This is foot. This shi or tomaru. For example, while the shi kanji is or shi radical is non-functional in this ro, when it comes to this kanji, it is functional. It's functional. So it really depends on the subject kanji you're dealing on. So what are non-functional components? Non-functional components or non-functional radicals are components that do not have a direct role on a given character. They are generally subcomponents of the character's functional components. So within a kanji, there are functional components, and these non-functional components are actually acting as subcomponents of the functional components. Example. This kanji meaning bu or section. Bu, this kanji means bu or section or sectioning or part or dividing into parts. Its functional components are this ho, being the sound component, ho, which is also have an onyomi of to, and the meaning component for this kanji is this, the kanji for the radical for city. This wall or expanded wall in a city, or city, a meaning component meaning radical for this is this, that has a meaning city, often used for meanings which have to do with places, usually city or boundaries or walls in a city, this kind of radical. So non-functional components in this bu kanji, the non-functional components include this kanji, which actually a kanji meaning to stand, which is a person, which depicts a person standing, front view of a person stand, and the kanji for mouth, So neither of these two components, neither of these two radicals are giving form. They are neither form component, they are neither sound component, they are neither meaning component. These two are only subcomponents of this radical. So I will give further information, so that let's give a further elucidation on the form component or form radical, meaning component, sound component, and empty component. Please take a look at this. Okay, so form component or form radical, the form of the form component adds to the kanji's meaning. So I want to emphasize here, minasan, everyone, I want to emphasize that not only the meaning, it is not only the meaning component that points out or hints or give meaning to a kanji. There are times that even form components affects or gives or hints at the meaning of a particular kanji. Just like here, the form of the component meaning radical, the form of that radical adds to the kanji's meaning. So in this kind of kanji, this is a picture. This is actually a picture. I want you to remember that kanji characters are actually pictures. The left side is an ear, this is an ear, and this is a right hand. So the right hand holds or takes an ear. So the form component here is picture of a hand. This is a form component, picture of a hand. So form component also is the ear. The ear is a form component, and the right hand, this is a hand, or right hand, is also a form component. So together, these two form components influences or hints at the kanji's meaning. So this kanji is shu or toru, meaning to take or accept. The right hand takes the ear of a person. So analysis: the kanji shu, onyomi of shu, kunyomi of toru, consists of two form components: the mimi or ear, and this mata or right hand. This is a right hand. Together they create a picture of a hand grabbing an ear, hence expressing the meaning to take. Because in ancient times, if there are wars, victor soldiers take the ear of their victims. They take the ear of their victims. So believe it or not, because as I've said, this kanji characters are actually pictures of all depictions of pictures from ancient times. So let's go to the next meaning component. Okay, meaning component. The meaning of the meaning component adds to the kanji's meaning. So just like here, we have this is actually an advanced kanji. So we're focusing on the meaning component. So the meaning component here is the chisai or small or sho ko. This kanji and also a radical meaning small, and then put together with the kanji meaning big. O or dai. So I also want to emphasize here, minasan, that not only a kanji is being formed through the communication of components, but also there are actually relation of components. So you have to understand and rather memorize the relation of components and how they interact. So analysis. The kanji here consists of two components. The small, this is a kanji for small, chisai or ko, sho, and the component dai or o, meaning big. The meaning point sharp, the meaning point or sharp is expressed by placing the small over the big. So if you have a pointed object, you can, like a pyramid. If you have a pointed object, you can observe that the apex or the upper part is small, and the bigger part or the base of that pyramid, or say a knife or a pyramid. So obviously the upper part is small part, and the base or bigger part, the base is the bigger part. So just like here, the top is small, top portion is small, lower portion is big. So when these two components, meaning components, combine, the kanji being formed is expressed to mean point or sharp apex or pointed object. Note that the kanjis created entirely of the meaning components are rare. So it's not a usual case that in a kanji all of the components are all meaning components. That's a rare case. So again, to the next, sound component. What's a sound component? Sorry, the sound of the component indicates the kanji sound. Kanji sound and kanji readings can be interchangeably considered, or there can be interchanged. There's an interchangeability. So when you say sound component, it's also the reading, but it only applies to the onyomi. Unfortunately for the kunyomi, you cannot depend on sound component to determine the reading, because the reading and sound is the same here when we start, at least at this particular subject matter. So for the sound component, the sound of that sound component is the sound or onyomi reading of that kanji. Just like here, this is the subject kanji. The onyomi for this is so and so. So what is the sound component here? It is enclosed. There's an FMS here, but among the FMS, the S is enclosed, so meaning this green character is a sound component. So I have said that the sound of a kanji originates from the sound of the sound component. So this is the sound component. What is the sound or reading or onyomi reading for this component or radical. This is so, and sho. So the so in here actually came from the so of the sound component, which is here, and the heart here, this blue here is a heart. It's a meaning component. It's a meaning component. The blue here is a meaning component. This radical color, the one color blue, is a heart, and it's a meaning component. It gives the meaning, or it points out to the meaning to think, or idea, or thought, or to reconsider. So analysis. The kanji so or so consists of the functional components so and shin or kokoro. So the sound component so and sho indicates that the kanji's sound or kanji's onyomi reading is similar to the onyomi reading or sound of the so here, the color green, and the meaning component shin or kokoro shows that kanji's meaning is related to heart, because in ancient people believes that a person's mind is greatly influenced by its heart, but this kanji here means idea, thought, or to think. Okay, so for the fourth functional component, empty component is a functional component. Empty component, this is a component or radical that provides an empty form which is not related in full form, not related in meaning, not related in sound. Just like here, this kanji is a kanji for meaning beauty or beautiful. This is the onyomi here is bi, and the kunyomi is utsukushi or beautiful. So the meaning is beautiful. The sound or onyomi is bi or mi. Kunyomi here is utsukushi or beautiful. So this is a front view of a headdress. Actually, the empty component here is the colored yellow. Please bear in mind that the empty component here is the colored yellow. Before it was the upper part used to be a goat. This radical or component here is a goat, but after some time this goat radical here was replaced by a headdress, because it is believed that if a woman wears a headdress, the headdress makes the woman beautiful. So the headdress here influenced the meaning. But why is it empty then? Because the original radical here, the supposed to be or original radical here is the goat, and this radical goat has no influence on the kanji's meaning beautiful. So there's no relation between a goat and a beautiful kanji. So why then the goat was replaced by a headless? It is by a concept known as corruption. In the description box, minasan, I will place there also an important concept known as kanji corruption, because over some time corruption occurs in kanji either in form or in sound. So why is it again being called as empty component? Because in the kanji beautiful, this radical that depicts a goat has no effect, has no influence on the kanji sound nor in meaning beautiful. So form component here is big, meaning referring to the headdress. See, the kanji bi or mi or beauty consists of two functional components. Here it's a goat, but was corrupted to headdress, later on corrupted as headdress, and o or big, which give the form of a person, usually a woman, a person wearing a headdress, to express the meaning beautiful. The empty component goat here, it's actually a goat or sheep. This one here, the colored white, is a goat or sheep. Okay, so The empty component here, sheep or goat, substitutes for the headless by a concept called corruption. While the form component die or big is a picture of a front view of a person. Okay, so in the description box I will place there also an important kanji concept known as corruption. And you must remember that in the world of kanji study, when you are studying kanji, corruption occurs either in sound or in form. In this case, the corruption of kanji occurs in form. So another concept to learn here is the location of the radicals. The locations of radicals or location of components. When a radical is placed at the left side of the kanji, when the radical or component is placed on the left side, it's called a hen position, hen. And if it is placed on the right side, it's tsukuri position. If it is on the top position of a kanji, that radical is in kanmuri position. If it is in the bottom part, it's ashi or foot, ashi, bottom part ashi. If it is placed on the upper left part, it's called a tare, and sometimes it is dare. It's dare due to dakten influencing dakten, but originally this is called tare. And this positioning, the lower left, it's neo, and sometimes the kanji radical or the component or radical encloses. It is an enclosing radical. It seems that it encloses the whole kanji. So what kind of position is that? It's kamae or gamae, enclosure. And this is and another position is no common position. Here, the one that has no white part, all black part, no common position. So that these are the positions of the kanji radical or component. So okay, going back to our reference. Okay, so I want to give you this additional information. Okay, so the hand of a person being a component or radical is written in this kind of kanji, in this kind of component. Please be familiar with the visuals or the appearance. Please be familiar with the appearance of the radicals. These are just examples of radicals or components. This radical is a hand from the kanji te. You see, so sometimes for a kanji to become a radical, it has to go some contraction. So when you contract this kanji, it is like this. So te, this is also a hand. When the te becomes a radical, the contracted form is here. And usually this radical is in hen position or left. Also, this radical is a hand. Specifically, this is a right hand of a person. The latter is specifically known as the right hand of a person. Okay, so example of a kanji that uses this radical is ji or motsu, mochi. This kanji has the meaning to hold or to grasp. So you see, because it has a radical of hand, so it influences the meaning. It has a direct relation on the meaning of this kanji. This kanji has the meaning to hold or to grasp. So hey, look at the left part, this radical. So this radical gives you a hint that the meaning of this kanji has something to do with holding by means of hand, holding or grasping by means of hand. And this radical is a hand. So you see, if you understand this concept of radical, it will give you a hint. It will give you a hint of the meaning of a kanji. So example of kanji that uses this kind of radical right hand is toro or shu, to take or to fetch. So additionally, there are other radicals or components. There are actually depictions of a hand in different or alternate perspective. Please bear in mind that the following are also hand or hands. So this radical is also a hand. This is a hand in which the progenitors of this kanji radical or kangsi radical means that it's a part of the hand where the pulse is taken. It's usually 3.03 centimeters. So it's still a hand having the onyomi soon. It's a hand with a mark below from the wrist indicating the original meaning, the area below the wrist where the pulse is taken. For example, what are the example of kanji that uses this radical? This toki, ji or toki meaning time. So another form of a hand is this kyo or ku. Believe it or not, this kind of radical or component is a hand. It depicts two hands. It's a depiction of two hands presenting something or done in a respectful manner. It presents something, say in altar. So this radical hand hints to the original meaning to raise both hands. When adopted in Japan to use as component or bushu for kanji, it depicts two hands. This kind of radical kyo or ku is an example of component radical for the kanji sho. This kanji is sho, meaning to rise or to rise up. And then another example of bushu radical, so. This is actually also a hand, but particularly that hand, the part of the hand that has the fingers and the fingernails, tsume, the part of the hand that has the fingers and fingernails. It depicts a hand turned sideways, indicating to the original meaning hand. As a component, this is written as like this. So it's also a so. So or kunyomi tsume or glow. When adapted in Japan to appear as component, it has the meaning actions done with the use of a person's hand. For example, grabbing or crawling. So this is also a hand. An example of kanji that uses this so radical is the kanji character toru. So this kanji character toru, sorry for that, this kanji character toru or shu, meaning to get. Okay. So sorry for that mistake. So the kanji character that uses the すみませんごめんなさいこの部首は this kanji bushu or radical is used here in this kind of character, meaning this is shu meaning to get or to receive or to accept. please bear in mind that this so, this kanren so, or variant of a radical, this kanren or variant of a so, or because this is the canonical form and this is the variant form or kanren. So please bear in mind that the radical so is a kanren type. Kanren type, or when you say kanren, it's a variant. Kanren is a variant type of a component or radical. The variant or kanren type originated from a canonical form. So this is a kanren type of the canonical form tsume or so. This is the canonical form or commonly known form radical, and this is its variant or the kanren. So the so, when used as a kanji character and not as a component or radical, is so here, when used as a kanji character and not a radical, has the meaning fingernails of a person or a claw of an animal. The so here, being a variant form, is called kanren. Kanren or related form. Kanren, related form for the radical. So a variant or related form or kanren of this is the canonical form, this is the kanren form of tsume or so. This is a depiction of a hand turned sideways, indicating its original meaning, hand. Now, what is a kanren? What's a kanren or variant? Components or radicals appear either in its canonical form or commonly known full form, or in its variant form or known as kanren. The kanren are related forms of a component or radical that show connection of meanings or functions. Function in the context of being a component. See illustration of kanren. Kanren from the canonical form, full form. Just like here, this is shin or kokoro, is a picture of a heart indicating its original meaning, heart. But this shin here or heart can have a kanren, and when you say this, there's another kanji for heart, meaning in the anatomy or biology of a person. The heart being part of a human body or in anatomy, it's called shinzo. But if you mean the heart being used in decision making of a person or has something to do with emotions, it's called kokoro or shin. But if you talk about medical science or anatomy, you should not use kokoro, you should use shinzo. So shin or heart or kokoro is the canonical form, and it has two kanren forms. The two kanren forms is like this: rishin ben in hand position, rishin ben, and this kind of kanren or variant form. So the shin can either appear as the one in so, either in that kind of form or in this alternate form, or the kanren or variant form. The shin or kokoro has two variant forms, these two. Okay, when kokoro or shin is used as a component or radical in a kanji, it appears as this and is written usually, oftentimes, at the left side of the subject kanji or hen position. This kind of positioning, being on the left side of a kanji, is called the hen position, as I have shown a while ago. When the kanji character is used as a component, when the kanji character shin or kokoro is used as a component radical placed at the bottom, it is oftentimes written as this. So okay, before we get into conclusion, I want to show more examples. So just like here, you have a kanji here. Try to decompose this kanji. This kanji is composed of two components. The person, this is a person, and this is words coming from a person. This is a kanji that meaning to trust or put your faith in someone. So when it's a you're the one that listen to a person, to the words of a person. This is you, and you lean on, you put your back, you lean on to the words, you lean on to the words of the second person that you're listening to. So it has a story. This is a person. Let's say you want to lean on or put your back at rest at the words of the second person you're talking to. So it means you trust him, you trust her, you put your faith on her. So this kanji here as a depiction has the meaning to trust or put your faith. So shin or trust, shinjiru, so means you rely or you take a rest or you take a back rest on his words. So see how important radicals are. So just like it, let's decompose that kanji. Let's decompose. It's composed of two. A person, this is a person, and these are words coming from a person. Words coming from a person. So form explanation in shin or shinjiru, meaning to trust or put a faith in a person, contains the meaning component speech or words coming from a person, indicating to the original meaning sincerity or honesty. But shin here is also oftentimes referred to placing your trust or faith in a person. And also here, the shin here, you notice this is a radical for a person, meaning if you are the person listening to someone, if you trust him or put your faith in him, you put your back, you rest on that words, you rest on his words, on her words. So kotoba or speech radical is the meaning component here, indicating sincerity or honesty. So the original meaning sincerity, honesty, but in modern Japan meaning, this kanji here has the meaning to trust or believe or put your faith in that particular person you're listening to. So see, it's very useful. The kanji are very useful. The kanji radicals are very useful. So again, the kanji ukeru or shu, the hand here, this is a variant from the hand here, is a form component that points out to the meaning to take, to grab, or to receive. So this is also a hand. So it influences the meaning to take, because this kanji here means to take or to accept or to receive. This is hand, this is a hand. So you use your hand in accepting or taking something. So let's parse or let's parse that kanji. Let's divide it into parts. This kanji shu or toru, meaning to accept or to take something, can be parsed into three. This is a hand, this is a hand. So you see the shu depicts a hand giving a boat, now written as this, and another hand, which has an ancient Chinese meaning, exchange of giving and receiving. So you see, the kanji radicals, learning or mastering the kanji radicals is a very essential skill in learning kanji. And again, this kanji can be parsed into two, but the meaning component here is this hand. This is mots or mochi, or ji, meaning to take something with you, or you're holding something with you. So the ancient graphics in China, this is a hand taking something. This is the one that it takes, or holding something. Okay, so Onyomi, ji, kunyomi, motsu. Again, for the particular kanji, the meaning component here is the hand. Meaning component, it was added later to enforce the idea of holding, to hold something. So you see, In this kanji, it has this part, hand. It points out or gives us a hint that the meaning is something related to holding or grabbing something, to take something with you. Okay, so let's go back. Okay, so as a conclusion, please remember, conclusion, important things to know here. Okay, as a conclusion, the most important step to understanding how a kanji character works is to understand how it breaks down into functional components. If you get this step, so please try to understand that you need to understand the kanji radicals or components, because it's a very essential step. So if you want to really understand kanji, you have to understand how it breaks down into functional components. If you get this step wrong, it is almost impossible to understand how the kanji characters work. Keep in mind that understanding how the kanji actually works is imperative for the purpose of long-term recall in your memory and predictive ability, your ability to predict the reading or sound of a kanji. So in your quest of learning kanji, learning these radicals is a very crucial step for your long-term recall in your memory and predictive ability to predict. Let's say you are in a test and you have to predict the reading of a kanji. The next most important step is understanding how functional components do their job, as we have discussed this day. The form, the meaning, sound components, and the components. So that's the second step, knowing how these components do their job, and understanding the 4 types of functional components which we have discussed. Okay, so we have seen the illustration of this component. So for now, this is as far as we go. So in our next lesson for kanji, we will continue. This is our work in progress. We will continue to discuss and go back to this particular concept of kanji radicals or bushu or components. So for today, we close now, and if I may ask you to please like, share, and subscribe, minasan, to help our channel grow. And in our next video, we will discuss the something related to grammar, and in our next kanji lesson, we will discuss the set number 2 for our kanji. So right now we will have to close this. Kyo kokomade desu. Saigo made mite kurete arigatou gozaimashita. Thank you for watching until the end. Saigo made mite kurete arigatou gozaimashita. Go shichou kudasari arigatou gozaimashita. Thank you for watching. Dewa mata tsugi no douga de. Until the next video. Mata mina. Bye bye. Arigatou.